And we are live. Welcome to NBA Live Before Lock, Tuesday, February 3rd. We've already had a lot of fun on the NBA streets. Nikola Vucevic off to Boston and other things. But we have to talk DFS tonight. 8-game slate. Tons of news already happened. Preposterous value in Indy. Jaren Jackson Jr. is now on the Jazz. That's a fourth J. And we're going to break it down right now. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow us both on Twitter, at Josh Engleman, at Eric Lindquist. What's good, brother?
Did you think of that yourself, or was that a regurgitated tweet that you saw?
Did I think of what by myself?
So quad J instead of triple J.
Oh, that came to me naturally. Those type of things just hit this brain like crazy. I'm just happy I was able to corral it.
What brain?
You can't even tell. It fills up the screen. It's so big.
Yeah, your head does, but not your
brain. I
brain.
gotta zoom out. I have to be on like that 0.5 zoom because of my brain.
Yeah, no, it was a fun NBA day for sure. My Minnesota Timberwolves, if they are serious here, sounds like they said no to Kobe White. Sounds like they're trying to do everything they can to make Giannis a thing. I don't know how Mike Conley trims $21 million off of the tax, but whatever. I don't pay that tax, so I don't give a shit. Just give me Giannis. Like, just send him somehow, some way, my way. It's not going to happen. I don't think you can give up McDaniels, Randall, and Nas. So something tells me it'll end up being way more boring for my Timberwolves than it should be. But it was a fun day overall in the NBA. Quad J, that's obviously the calling card, but like, I mean, there's 48 guards that now play for the Chicago Bulls. I don't know what they're going to do and how they're going to unload everybody. Ayo and Kobe White going to be in the raffle at the end of the trade deadline. But anything that you wanted to like point out, because it was obviously just fun to track all day.
Yeah, I mean, I fully expect the Bulls to not get enough for one or two of those guards. That's just typically what they do. I love the trade for Utah. It'd be hard for me to not like that more. And not that I don't mind it at all for Memphis either. They also have a fuck ton of guards, so I'm anxious to see what they start to do, because I like Walter Clayton as like a rotation guard down the line, but it's getting busy there, although some of these guys just haven't played whatsoever. I like the pickup of Vooch for the Celtics. It's like the one thing they needed was another competent big man. Two completely different looks between him and Keita. I think rotating through that is going to be sweet. Don't really care about Simons. That's whatever.
Yep.
I think we're primed and ready to go for the next 2 days. Trade deadline show Thursday, somewhere around 1 o'clock until sometime after 3 o'clock when the deals stop trickling in. I will be there. It will be fun. I love it.
There's a couple of different things. So first off, I've let this be known on a couple of shows. That's my favorite show that we do here at Stokastic year in, year out. And it's just you on stream for multiple hours talking through the trade deadline news. You kind of know what you're talking about. I don't know shit about the first apron, the second apron, the 48th apron. I don't give a shit what apron it is. I just know that I care about trades, and I have a decent idea of how things go about in the NBA, or how you rank a first-round pick in relation to this player, that player, first-round pick from what team, and how valuable it could be. But you guys want to be tuning into that on Thursday. It's the best show. And then, not only that, we have the prop tool now live here at Stokastic as well. So in addition to being able to talk through the news, we might be able to find some value, because we've got a 7-gamer that's going to be coming up our way on Wednesday. And on Thursday, we've got an 8-game slate. And there are teams like Chicago, teams like Houston, teams like San Antonio and Dallas and Golden State and Philly and the Lakers. Like, there's something that's going to break in terms of value. And I think if we're updating that in real time, like we've been quite frequently throughout the day today or other days, you're going to find a ton of value in the prop market as well.
I hope Thursday is an absolute mess and opens up just a preposterous day. But it seems like we already got the preposterous day, and it starts in Indiana. Yeah. The Indiana Pacers. I'm just going to read this injury report off. I'd be better off telling you the guys that are active, but Aaron Nesmith out, Andrew Nembhard, Benedict Mathurin, Micah Potter, Pascal Siakam, TJ McConnell, obviously Obi Toppin and Tyrese Halliburton as well. These guys are ultra thin. They don't have a ton of bodies here, and we're seeing it in the ownership. Quentin Rampage Jackson, 3,100, point guard, shooting guard eligible, 80-something% owned.
Yeah,
Jarris Walker at 5,200, 50% owned. Jay Huff at 4,300, 50% owned. Isaiah Jackson at 3,200, 30% owned. Furphy's 27% owned. There's more to go after that. How the hell do you want to handle the Indiana Pacers?
I'm going to play a lot of them. We're all going to play a lot of them. And it's just a question of what the starting lineup looks like, what ownership looks like, and trying to make informed decisions after the fact. Because a guy like Quentin Jackson, we've got him projected right now at 1.2 DraftKings points per minute. Seems pretty good. Yeah, Rampage. Not Rip. He's still alive, right?
He is still alive, yes.
Okay, that's good. It's there's been a lot of street fighters in the YouTube streets and whatever else that I always forget who's who and whatever. Who's the guy who ended up dying who was the big street fighter on YouTube back in the day?
Kimbo Slice?
That is Kimbo Slice. That's exactly what I was thinking about. But I'm just saying, Rampage Jackson, I mean, these are the guys that all kind of, we were in high school, Josh, when this was going down. These guys were like the big names and the big tickets. But Quentin Jackson's the ticket today. He's 3,600 on FanDuel. There's just no planet where I'm not playing a ton of him, shooting guard eligible. And then over on DraftKings, 3,100 shooting guard eligible. I mean, this is like a pre-made kind of just click it and ticket, let you seatbelt fast and trunk rattling yeah, you're going to do that. I like the way you move. There you go. You didn't see that one coming?
No, I sure didn't. Let's hit these two member messages quickly. Clinton Leatherwood hit us. Josh, did you get the shoes? Hi, Eric. I did not get the shoes yet, but I may do that later tonight when I'm off of the show.
What shoes?
Laney ones. Saw a nice price while I was on the strategy show earlier today. Had my eye on them for a while.
Love.
And then Sotex. By the way, Clinton's member message, 36 months. Sotex, 44 months. Happy what the hell are we going to do now day? Yeah, it's going to be a good one here. I mean, realistically, everybody on the Pacers is getting like non-zero ownership. Cam Jones, flat 3K, 7% owned right now. They have 9 guys.
Sorry, one more thing.
I love this so much.
Rampage's kid tried to kill an amateur wrestler. That's a thing. Rampage's kid did?
He sort of. He tried to kill tried to kill is also an interesting way to do it. He did a professional wrestling match, and he took it quite seriously and tuned this dude up real bad.
I can remember that kind of. It was like a bit, and then it turned into like he actually knocked the dude out, right? That was kind of the deal.
It was a professional wrestling match.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And he just beat the shit out of the guy.
You're like, he kind of killed him, but kind of didn't. Anyway, we're laughing about it. We're having fun. Anyway, we're going to play a lot of Quentin Jackson. I think Jay Huff is probably the most like terrifying guy to me. So I went through a lot of the January 17th stuff, and we have some cool stuff coming from Josh here very, very shortly that we'll be able to share this on screen as well. Not to tease everything Josh is doing, because I feel like I'm doing some cool stuff too, but going to be hanging out in the Discord after this, which doesn't sound as fun as like, hey, I just created an entire machine from scratch, which is going to be more of what you're going to hear from Josh in the next couple of days. But not to tease that too much, Jay Huff is a guy who played very limited, but they got their ass kicked to Detroit. And I assume that even on the back-to-back, that Jay Huff would have played a lot more minutes if it was more competitive. He's a really good fantasy point per minute guy. You've got Isaiah Jackson there as well. And even though there's like obviously a little bit of negative correlation, if we don't have Jackson in the starting lineup, you're not going to probably start Huff and Jackson next to each other, but you have the power forward eligibility for Huff. I think I have no issue playing both of them in the same lineup. And I think that's where like a lot of people are going to have questions over the next 50 minutes, Josh. Like, who do we want to play in the same lineup from Indy? Who do we not want to play in the same lineup? Because like I'm playing select lineups in the 1-1-1, playing a bunch of lineups in the 1-1. Like DraftKings has a ton of great tournaments today. And like, I'm trying to figure out how to like best parse through Indy, because I'm going to play 2-3 guys minimum in every lineup that I've got here on the Indy side. It's just a question of like, who do you think is most negatively correlated and has salaries where it's kind of an issue?
Nobody. Like,
Yeah.
Like Jarris Walker is the only guy that has a salary that even matters for the Pacers today. Like Jay Huff is a center. Isaiah Jackson is, I guess, a center. Realistically, Jarris Walker's more of a center than Isaiah Jackson. I think those dudes are just going to have to play no matter what. And I don't really like the only guy that I have any concern over is Jarris Walker because he's 5,200. Everybody else is like either a guy I trust or a guy that's part of the random number generator. Like, don't ask me to separate Cam Jones and Talon Peter. I can't do that. I wouldn't even begin to be able to have a guess of what to do with those two dudes. No clue. Ethan Thompson's the same thing. Random. Those three dudes are random. That said, you need to have them in some way if you're playing multiple lineups. But assuming Quentin Jackson starts, he's going to look great no matter what. I do think there's a case to be made that like no, maybe he like 28 minutes scares me. I think there's a easy downside in his minutes.
Yep.
But at the same time, the lowest minutes we have projected for anybody that isn't Isaiah Jackson is 25. So like I think everybody just gets it no matter what. And that's the hardest part of the Pacers is mixing and matching these dudes.
I think
I guess the starters are the guys we expect to close, save for like Jackson could close and it wouldn't be weird. But like realistically, the other four guys, especially Jarris Walker and probably Ben Shepherd, kind of close no matter what. The rest of it is up in the air to me. I want to move this stuff around.
I do too. And I guess the right way of saying this is like the positionality aspect, like power forward doesn't matter that much with Jay Huff when you've got Lauri Markkanen, you've got Jalen Johnson, you've got a lot of these guys that we're going to talk about later that, you know, either on the other side of this game or just the position in general, I want to get to. We're going to want to roster a lot of. And then, well, if we do that, then I'm going to play three guys and it's pretty much going to be Jackson, Walker, Jackson. You're playing like 5v5s all day. And I don't know. I'm trying to figure out who between Ethan Thompson, Ben Shepherd, or Talon Peter I actually have a stand on. I can't tell you. Generally, I have a really good gauge of this. And, you know, I was able to talk to my buddy Rinpack. We talked about a lot of Chicago stuff, some indie stuff today. Just had a long talk about a bunch of different things. And like, I feel as though I don't really have a concept of who could actually stand out there. So like right now, Ethan Thompson is the guy who I have the most built into that stuff purely because he's got point guard, shooting guard. I think Ben Shepherd, we've seen enough of him. Very bad fantasy producer, you know, in any capacity, whenever he's existed. But I'd say he's the one dude who was in the rotation out of everybody playing basketball for Indy last year. Some guys weren't there like Jay Huff. You know, they didn't give a shit about Jarris Walker until he got there. But like, I'm very curious what people end up playing and clicking on and what they don't in this spot amongst like those 6th, 7th, 8th guy here for Indy. And so in like large field, I'm just going to embrace it, play 10, 15, 20% of all of these dudes more than likely. I don't know a better way to do it. It's not scientific. I think we're playing like the same dudes around him. So like quantity is almost better than quality because like they're going to have Luka, they're going to have Jokic, they're going to have Jalen Johnson, they're going to have all the spend ups everybody else is. And you're just kind of like trying to get the right combination showing up there at the end of the day. So yeah, Jarris Walker, he projects the best. He's got the best projection, but he is the one expensive dude. And that kind of gives me a little bit of pause, but otherwise I'm just way over on every indie pacer. And I know they're already popular.
Yeah. Walker's the one guy that I would actively choose to be light on. And let me be very clear here. He's a 50% boom guy. Yeah. Like with a MPE, he's a great play. I'm not trying to undersell him, but he's the easiest thing to replace of anybody else that's here because he's the only guy that has to reach a score that matters more than the rest of these dudes. The rest of these dudes could like sort of sneak their way into it a bit. So he's the only one that scares me. And he's also like the second best play, even still with that salary. That's why he's awesome. Quentin Jackson scares me just because there's like 4 versions of him on this team. And I'm not to say that our projections are wrong, because that's not what I'm alluding to here. We have data that we're building this off of. We have betting lines that are available here.
Volatility. You can't predict it, Josh. Like
no,
you can't.
Well, like 1.2 fantasy points per minute is healthy.
Yeah, it's very good.
Whereas like he could play 20. The whole damn game could be 24 minutes of dudes. And that's where and then you start tacking it onto however this breaks. Is it an ass beating? Who's out there? Does it matter which direction the ass beating goes? All of that up in the air to me. I know one thing. I want to have a lot of Jay Huff and Isaiah Jackson. Yep. And I'm willing to die on that. Jackson in particular at 30%. I want to know what it looks like to have more of that. The only downside for this is locking at 7, but at least everything locks by 8. Like it might not matter as much, but Isaiah Jackson seems most underrepresented for me personally.
I am playing a lot of volume today. I feel very confident in Isaiah Jackson being my highest owned player. I feel very, very confident that no matter what, no matter how this finishes out in the next 40 minutes, we don't assume he starts. And I think that's going to actually help. I would like this starting lineup to come out sooner rather than later, wouldn't you? Like, I would rather have it come out now and have people react and have projections react and have everything show up the way that it should be so that I can just play a ton of him off the bench. Like, that's really what I want. And yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to add. This is a team we're obviously rostering. We're obviously doing a ton with it. Brandon Williams officially out. That's useful.
Brandon Williams is out. D'Angelo Russell also out, slightly less useful.
I mean, Ryan Nembhard season, but, you know, it's beside the point.
So it's not just the Pacers that are missing some bodies today. The Utah Jazz are missing some. Some are no longer on the Utah Jazz. Some are already sitting. George Niang, no. Kevin Love, no. Keontae George, no. Kyle Anderson, no. Taylor Hendricks, no. Walker Kessler, no. Walter Clayton, no. But Yusuf Nurkic is here, as is Isaiah Collier, Markkanen Sensabaugh, Ace Bailey, Filipowski, Svi Mikhailiuk, and Cody Williams. Now, most of these guys do not have price tags that we like here. Isaiah Collier is grabbing 40% ownership. Markkanen is around 25 with massive positive leverage at this moment. And then it falls off a cliff. How do you like the Utah side?
I don't like it nearly as much with Nurkic in. I can tell you that much. It was a disaster to have that alert pop up. Obviously, he was being rested. He was on the injury report, said rest, out. That was very fun. And then, well, wouldn't you know it? They trade half of their basketball team. And here we are. Got left holding the bag on a couple of bets that, you know, I felt very, very confident about. But I'll start here. Isaiah Collier is a really good play. You got rid of Walter Clayton, which would be kind of the guy who's pushing him there. Keontae George is out for this basketball game. They don't have a prototypical ball handler. Like, I really don't know what they're going to do in minutes where you don't have Isaiah Collier on the floor. Like, who's actually, like, is Svi Mikhailiuk going to be bringing the ball up? Like, what are they, is this going to be Point Nurkic? Like, I'm actually very curious to see every minute that the Utah Jazz don't have him on the floor. Let me know who you think it is.
We also need to think about this. We'll get this starting lineup in 10 minutes, but if Yusuf Nurkic isn't in it.
That's what I'm praying for, by the way, as somebody who has multiple hundreds of dollars wrapped up in Utah props, who kind of saw that coming. Also, DK DFS, give him a shout out. I tailed his Prize Picks card this morning. That was lovely to see because I was like, oh, this is nice. And then had crazy closing line value until it didn't because Nurkic just from the cloud shows up. But this could just be an active body situation. That's what I'm really hoping for, is that, you know, this is kind of like when guys are in college and they just make up their body count. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be active today. Oh, yeah, I'm at 8. Yeah, go me. And then they don't play because they didn't actually have sex. That's the way that I feel about Yusuf Nurkic today.
I don't really feel like my friend group ever had that.
Oh, I definitely had a liar in college. I definitely had a liar buddy. Brandon, I'm not going to say his last name. I'm going to withhold. But we definitely had a friend in our friend group who would just be like, oh, yeah, it was great. And we're just like, no, you didn't do anything. You passed out at 9 p.m. You're a twat.
Yeah, I think my friend group was usually pretty legit about it. I can't think of anybody that was just like, no, you didn't, man.
We didn't
really have that.
Well, shout out North Carolina. Come on and raise up. Take your shirt off, twist it around your head, and then be honest about your conversations with your male friends.
I wasn't in North Carolina for any of that.
Where'd you go to school?
Pennsylvania.
Oh, I'm a liar. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun.
Let's hypothesize here for a second. I don't think this is going to happen, but let's say that Nurkic just they don't start him. Obviously, we're going to be getting to some Kyle Filipowski at that point. Can we even unlock anybody else? It feels like no. 2, 4.
Cody Williams
like they're not going to play 7 guys, right? They're not.
Yeah. And not only that, but like the guy who probably benefits the most outside of Kyle Filipowski, who's still 5,900, and it's not like he's free. He would have been, one of those like 30% owned type dudes here in this spot, 35% on this specific slate. He does have the same positionality as Markkanen, power forward. They share that. We have Jalen Johnson. We have Karl Anthony Towns, another big part of this slate in terms of spend ups. That's kind of who I'm thinking about nonstop with some of these indie pieces. And like, no matter how you carve it up, like Utah was going to have to play Kyle Filipowski a ton because they're just short on bigs for the first time in the history of their organization. Like Shibwe, like that would be the one dude where it's like, all right, from the rafters, but he's at G League, so it doesn't matter to us. If they didn't have Nurkic in, this would have just been like 38 minutes of Kyle Filipowski barring foul trouble. So like you would have been getting a ton of him. I would have been playing a ton of him. And now if Nurkic isn't in the starting lineup, I still think that you'd have to get some kind of minutes out of Nurkic. Playing a 7-dude rotation in the NBA in the year of our Lord 2026 would be a little bit nuts, but like look at the guys who eat up more of the minutes. Ace Bailey, who's at like 23.5, 24.5 PRA, depending on where you're looking. Cody Williams, who might be the worst fantasy producer since Tony Snell. We've got Bryce Sensabaugh, who's really, really good, but like just from a fantasy perspective, not in real life, like he would be somebody I'd want to have a ton of. And Svi Mikhailuk, who played 30 minutes off the bench this weekend, and our projections team was losing their mind because obviously they should be, because that was just a foregone conclusion. Svi Mikhailuk would just be out of the rotation from now until the end of time in games where he wasn't starting. So this Utah team has a lot of caveats, a lot of issues to it. But that being said, the starting lineup will kind of cue me in on what I want to do, because I'll probably end up jamming Kyle Filipowski in the event that you have Nurkic coming off the bench playing like a 14, 16-minute type role. Otherwise, it's just a ton of Collier. Like, who handles the basketball other than Collier today? There's just nobody. He's the only one who can do it.
No, it's pretty bleak in there. I mean, certainly not Markkanen. That's not in his bag of tricks.
No,
it's gonna be tough. This whole slate is tough once you get out of this Indy and Utah game. I've got it pulled up on the screen right now. The highest owned guy today that doesn't play in the Indy Utah game is 28% to Jalen Smith, and he's questionable. There's only 6 guys that are 20% owned or higher. 2 of them are questionable. One of them's a pay up in Jalen Johnson. Another is a pay up in Jaylen Brown, who looks quite a bit different than this slate did earlier when I was advocating for Jaylen Brown. Towns is getting a little bit of love. But more importantly, we've got pay up options that aren't necessarily as owned as you would expect, like a 12K Luka, slightly sub 20%. Jokic is now gettable today because of all this value. How much we like him, undetermined. How do you want to handle paying up now? Because we clearly have no issues with salary.
Yeah, to the tippy top. We're going to the Luka Jokic tier. The Jokic
hold
thing
up.
isn't what?
Portis out? When did that come through?
Somebody gonna have
I see chat saying it.
We're gonna get the ban hammer. We're gonna have to get the ban hammer.
Is he not still questionable?
He's still questionable, but I haven't seen the number come. I haven't seen it come through yet. I'm seeing. Okay, Basketball Monster just moved him to doubtful.
Interesting.
When did that happen?
It might be happening in 5 minutes.
Okay. Because sometimes he does a pretty good job. I mean, I have a lot of the Twitter lists and the same stuff where I'm kind of combing through it. And usually what I'm doing on this show. If you see me just clicking random stuff, it's usually just
okay.
going through Twitter. I don't see anything yet.
Eric, yeah, I'm seeing it now. Eric Nem, the beat reporter for Milwaukee, said he's likely to be out tonight per doc from a minute ago. So
okay,
it's coming now.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's be somewhat ahead of that game. Kyle Kuzma, Miles Turner. Those are two guys who take a bump up. Ryan Rollins was already going to pull ownership. Ryan Rollins, especially on FanDuel. DK, 8,700, a little less so. Over on the FanDuel side, he's going to be one of the chalkiest plays of the slate, and he should be one of the chalkiest plays of the slate. 8,400 point guard, shooting guard, just a completely different ball of wax. Everybody's going to play him over there, but now DraftKings purposes probably shows up a little bit. One of my favorite prize picks plays today was Cole Anthony, 19 fantasy score. Like the over of that one quite a bit. I think one thing that happens when you remove him from the rotation, Jericho Sims probably shows up a little bit. And so some of these guys in the second unit take a little bit of a bump. So I gave Cole Anthony a little bit of a bump. Pete Nance is fine. But like, I think Jericho Sims goes from just kind of on the outskirts, him and Amir Coffey, to like potentially being in this rotation. And Kyle Kuzma just absorbs all the minutes that he possibly can handle in this kind of a spot. So 34, 36 minutes of him coming your way. And then Ryan Rollins was already a good play. Miles Turner, the minutes become a little bit more secure for him as well. I think center's really, really hard because Jokic has the raw fantasy points, even at limited minutes. And then you've got Isaiah Jackson on this slate. Anything else different at center is just not going to be as valuable to me as getting to a Kyle Kuzma, where I think Kyle Kuzma, as much as you hate him, I hate him, we all hate him, he's going to look really good at 6,600 against Chicago with the pace, with some of the pieces that are missing there. Plus, let's not forget, they just got rid of Vooch, and Jalen Smith is questionable. If it ends up being Olbrich and Patrick Williams starting at the 5, like, that's going to be a fun time to be anybody who can rebound a basketball with a pulse. And Miles Turner is not your typical rebounding 5 on the Milwaukee side. Like, Kyle Kuzma double-double, Kyle Kuzma rebound ladder, Kyle Kuzma anything makes a ton of sense if you get Bobby Portis off the floor. So from a DFS perspective, 6,600 for him. Probably the guy that ends up looking very, very different for me, considering Rollins I was already going to play on FanDuel no matter what. I can't hear you because you're on mute, and this is just hilarious for everybody involved.
All good.
There we go.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. So it's 6:28. We are about to get the Utah and Indy starting lineups. Obviously, Denver, Detroit also locking at 7. We are not worried about those lineups in any way. Christian Brown available, Karis LeVert available. Same for Knicks and Wizards, I guess. We kind of know what's going on in that one. There's not a ton of ownership coming into those spots. As I mentioned, like Towns is getting a little bit of love, but we really don't have a lot going on in these first couple early games. So something is going to pop up in the next minute or two and give us the goods for Utah and Indy. So for now, don't forget to click the link in the description, folks. Sign up through one of our partners, because if you do that, you'll make your life very easy. You can get a month of Sims for nothing. Whether you're signing up through one of the sports books or pick'em sites that are on, like once you click the link, there'll be a big list, instructions at the top. Pick one. Let's say it's Underdog. Let's say it's Sleeper. Let's say it's DraftKings Sportsbook. Whatever the link is, you're going to get something from them on the deposit. You won't have to pay us a dime, and you'll end up with a month of Sims at no cost. And if you sign up for more than one of the partners, you'll get more than 1 month for free. It's a great time to come in on the NBA side. Golf is back with a vengeance right now. MMA is here each weekend. Hockey, projections, ownership, and potentially other stuff. Who knows where the NHL season might take us? Come on in, get yourselves behind the paywall, see what we've got going on. All right, what do we got here? Bastian says, how high would you set the percentage OKC punts this game?
It's been a frustrating follow for me today. I didn't like it last night in terms of like just going through the betting board, 10 games, there were going to be a lot of spots, and I knew I was going to have a lot of props, but I'm always kind of like, all right, can I plant my flag with a spread? Can I take a look somewhere? Orlando's gone from +7.5 to +9.5, which I think speaks volumes to what's going on with OKC. They play San Antonio tomorrow. I was pretty sure that I was being slick, that I was kind of reading through the weeds and finding, there's going to be somebody resting here or there. But sometimes when you're OKC, especially if you've lost to a team like San Antonio, maybe a punt on the other side of this one. And if there are some dinged up concerns, like it sounds like Isaiah Hartenstein more likely to play in this game. Alex Caruso upgraded from doubtful to questionable. There's just been a lot of weird stuff that makes it seem like OKC is going to just go completely blitzkrieg pop in this spot and then potentially rest some guys for tomorrow's game. So didn't end up capitalizing potentially on the news the way I thought it would run out. I thought maybe they'd want to play San Antonio straight up, but also when you've got all your guys just back and you're playing a home game, take some of these virtual certainty wins, maybe punt some of these other ones, especially against a team like San Antonio, that if you play them with your dudes and they've beaten you now 3 times, probably gives them a little bit of confidence going into the playoffs. So just a weird amount of line movement. And now when it went +7.5, I woke up, it was +6.5. Now it's all the way up to 9.5, which just kind of screams that OKC is going to play everybody.
Yeah, I assume Kawhi Leonard named an all-star. Who cares? I assume SGA is just in. I assume one of the 3 bigs is going to sit today. Hartenstein's is illness, so like who knows? I could see them sitting Chet and the other 2 play, but I think one of those guys probably sits. And then I don't know for Caruso. Like it's Alex Caruso.
I think he's playing his 16, 18 minutes, and then they'll try to do it again tomorrow. Again, just kind of a weird spot.
It is a weird spot. I'm going to wait out the projections update to check the props tool. We'll see what that looks like once we hit some projections. I'm guessing we'll probably see that in like 8 minutes or so once these lineups hit and once we can do a little bit of a refresh. Here's the real question that I have for you. And this one's, I don't know how to bring this up, but who are you interested in today that isn't getting any ownership? Because it's been hard to talk about things that are like, we have so much obvious shit today, similar to like getting to the pay-ups. Like you have all the money in the world to get to the top. What's in the middle that's not getting the ownership that you want to like carve out?
I think the only way to do this right now and giving ourselves like a minute of being able to refresh everything, have the props tool, hit the nuke of the night. I think nuke of the night makes a lot of sense in this specific spot, just purely so we can update everything. And Jalen Smith is officially in. He would have been the nuke of the night, but now everybody's going to be able to play him. I was thinking about anything after this 7 p.m. Eastern time spot, and Jalen Smith just makes sense as a smack. Trey Jones upgraded to questionable. What the fuck is that? What are we doing? What are we doing?
We're doing this. The bomb got me. I'm actually dizzy now. I spun for way too long and way too fast.
Nuts
Nuke of the night.
On. All right.
Dude, I'm having cameras moving now. What's going on, man? Nuke of the night. Let's do it.
Dart in your neck, man.
You're crazy.
You're crazy, man. You're crazy.
Dude, when he like grabs it and he's like, yeah, what up? Just fucking that kills me.
It's so good.
Who you got, brother?
All right. So I know nobody's going to play him because it's Kyle Kuzma. So why wouldn't Kyle Kuzma be the nuke of the night tonight? We get multi-positional eligibility. Chicago, Milwaukee. I mean, we have kind of a sprint slate. I mean, this is 1 hour. You have 1 hour of swapping around. And after Indy locks, you don't get access to everything else. I'm a little bummed out because Jalen Smith was going to be my nuke of the night. I think he plays a metric ton. You have no Vooch there, Ulbrich. That's literally what sparked my conversation with Rinpack, was me being like, look, man, I know I've brought this Ulbrich guy up multiple times. I don't know anything about him. And we just kind of started shooting the shit about that. But I look at Jalen Smith, 6,100. He's really, really good to mix into lineups. I think we're going to get to a ton of him. Routinely today, he's been the most leveraged player in our boom bust tool over in the data hub over on Stokastic. But I look at Kyle Kuzma, and it's just so nice when you get a 6,600 guy that doesn't get steamed up because people actively hate him. But no matter how much you actively hate him, there is massive double-double rebound type upside here. He's had, 10, 8, 9, 5 rebounds here. The rebound rate has gone up absent Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's playing massive minutes here in a spot where Amir Coffey, formerly of the Los Angeles Clippers, Andre Jackson is gone to the Shadow Realm, and the guy who could potentially push him for the most minutes is like a Pete Nance behind him, who is only center eligible, and we're not thinking about him from a DFS perspective whatsoever. I think Kyle Kuzma's a really good play, sub 10%. Not my typical nuke of the night, 25%. Oh, no, Quentin Jackson in the starting lineup. Good God, Indy. Indy, why? Why would you do this?
Dude, I was just about to give Talon Peter as my nuke of the night. I don't know if it's going to be him. But...
Really? Yeah, you probably can't anymore because we're going to all play him. But yeah, Kyle Kuzma, eternally underowned because of who he is. Nuke of the night is what it is.
I love the shout. I think he's going to look quite different whenever we inevitably get this update that will happen after we get these lineups that appear to be dragging a bit. Dude. I was looking at Talon Peter just being a 6% owned dude, our third highest positive leverage option. His G League numbers were not exciting, so I was pumping the brakes a bit. But I kind of want to look to the top here. Unfortunately, it locks at 7, but this is a name that's getting wildly slept on. I love Cade Cunningham tonight.
Oh, okay.
15% owned. That's just no one's paying attention to it. But it's a matchup against Denver. And for some reason, I like this more because I think it can be competitive and he could play like upwards of 37 minutes. The fact that Yusuf Nurkic is not starting today is amazing.
That's really what I want to do. I just want to cuddle up with my dog and not do DFS anymore. Why? Nurkic isn't starting. This is great. But also, what are we doing? Cam Jones, Shepard, Furphy, Walker, Huff. We're starting Cam Jones. Who? Cam Jones. And then we're going to Utah with no Yusuf Nurkic. Josh, just kill me.
Cam Jones, who is that? That's real.
Who?
The who for Cam Jones is real. Nuggets will start Murray, Pickett, Brown, Watson, Jokic. Oof.
What am I doing with Kyle Filipowski? I didn't think this was actually going to happen, which is kind of why. Oh, this is good for betting. Bad for DFS. Read the Utah starting lineup. Did Underdog tweet it out yet? I saw
not
it
that
online.
I've seen.
Oh, I saw it online, bro. Just you wait. Just you wait.
You have the Utah starting lineup? Hit me, man.
I did. Oh, I just lost it.
Well, I don't know where you're seeing it. I don't have it.
There we go.
Well, that's going to be... Look, here's the deal. Because obviously this ownership is going to move around and we're like, whoa, crazy. Quentin Jackson's still going to be massively owned today and is still a good play. Cam Jones is now just a better play than he was before, but still highly volatile. So we're kind of just, more than anything, Austin Reeves available to play. More than anything, I think that we're just increasing the volatility even more on the Pacers.
Yep. I mean,
because we don't know, like, this is a tank game. Everything's on the table.
We have 9 dudes. That's what it comes down to. They have 9 guys that are playing basketball today. So you just take shots on a bunch of them, whether they're starting or not. Bobby Portis officially ruled out, so we can officially have that. But Filipowski,
the guys that are the best here are the ones that like run hot and make their shots. Like you're hoping to get the attempts correct, and then the chips fall. Guys, I know you guys have been waiting on like some FanDuel info. I'm waiting to hit anything until we get this update. I did not expect Utah to drag their heels like this as much as they are. And now Bobby Portis is obviously going to mess this up on the Milwaukee side. Reeves on a minutes limit. Oh, by the way, the most important thing, I didn't even mention this yet. Guys, I'm sure you noticed there was no deeper dive before we started this show, but there are 2 hours potentially of shows. Live before lock going on right now till 7 o'clock. Greg Ehrenberg live after lock, immediately after us. He's going to handle any of the news that pops up over the next hour. Look at any late swap possibilities. Hop into the props tool. Look for some good bets. So our boy Greg Ehrenberg coming in live after we're done once we get to 7 o'clock. So get ready. Trey Jones available, but not expected to play.
Wow.
This is incredible. Incredible. We are
realistically
19 minutes away.
Realistically,
no
how much does
lineup.
Kobe White and Io play then? Like, if they're not expecting Trey Jones to play, Julian Phillips has to play a ton if they don't give a shit. Like, if they don't care and they want to like limit the minutes of White and they want to limit the minutes of Io, like,
well, they're definitely limiting the minutes of Jalen Smith.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah. Right now, Kobe White, 20% owned. Io, about 15. I mean, realistically, I think Dalen Terry's probably getting slept on a bit at 3,600 with small forward eligibility.
Julian Phillips is not out. He is still questionable in the injury report. Stop saying stuff. Stop saying things that aren't. You're just going in timeout. I can't deal with you right now. I can't deal with myself.
Shouldn't have to.
Yeah. I mean, can you read?
Pistons will start Cunningham, Robinson, Thompson, Harris, Duran. So nothing weird there.
Thank you for telling me that. That's good to know. But yeah, NBA injury report. You type that into the Google machine, and guess what pops up? The NBA injury report every 15 minutes, every single damn day. 96 times a day, you can get an updated injury report. It's good times. Anyway, continue on.
Projections just hit. First run. We're obviously going to have to do this again, depending on what drops for Utah. Ownership should be hitting, I'm guessing, shortly. And it just hit now. Quentin Jackson down to 68% ownership. Jarris Walker still at 50. Jay Huff still at 50. Isaiah Collier at 50. Ethan Thompson, 25. Johnny Furphy, 25. Isaiah Jackson, 28. Cam Jones, 18. Point guard, shooting guard eligible, 3K. You got to get to more Cam Jones here, right? No matter how shit his per minute rate is, that seems like a guy you want to get to more than 20 or more than 18.
I would agree.
Now,
it's disturbing.
If you open up your contest and he's actually like 34, that's going to suck. But it feels like Cam Jones is now a significantly more interesting guy to get to. And I think Talon Peter is now the ultra extra special unowned wild card for the Pacers.
Julian Phillips is out. It still says questionable in the injury report. We'll get another updated one in like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Like, it's usually a couple of minutes after the 45. But yeah, I didn't see Julian Phillips was out, for what it's worth. I didn't see it at all.
I did not see it either.
That's literally what I've been paying attention to the most, because there's a part of me that wants to play a ton of Io and Kobe White if they're going to be like 3-4%.
When this injury report hits in 8 seconds, I'm going to hit it and find out. Let me hit this ownership on the FanDuel side for everybody, since we haven't had that up yet. At the top end, Quentin Jackson at 60, Collier at 60. Is that fetch going to work? It does. All right, Bulls. Yeah, Phillips out on the newest injury report.
Just popped. Awesome. And
Official.
Impact just sent me Jalen Smith, 20-minute restriction. Kobe White scheduled to start. 9 players available. So the Bulls are really the interesting team to talk about from a tournament perspective. Like Jalen Smith, 20 minutes. How much is Patrick Williams going to play?
Feels like a lot.
A lot more than being projected. I will say that much. And not that I like Patrick Williams by any means, but I like 2% guys that can win me a tournament at 3,700 if they play 30 minutes.
If he wasn't so shitty at basketball, he'd be really interesting today.
Yeah, he sucks. He truly actually sucks. And I now understand what my buddy Mo was going through as a Bulls fan with Patrick Williams. Do we extend him? Do we not? And he chose poorly. A little bit of that. Shout out Indy.
Have you noticed the one important thing that hasn't happened yet?
Yeah, we're still waiting for the official Utah lineup, although I've had multiple people now send to me as well, and I had it come through. It got deleted for what it's worth. The Utah starting lineup.
This is going to be incredible.
No, it's not.
Truly incredible.
Everything's awful about this. Also, 31 seconds ago, Julian Phillips out. So good for them to update that. Thank you, Underdog. And now
we just got another projections update at 6:45. So since we have a projections update in, no reason to not pull up the props tool. And I'm going to go heavy to our projections right now to see if there's anything standing out. Let's go 80-20.
I mean, you could almost just go 100 because we're paying attention more than the average market is going to. Like, we're paying very, very, very close attention to everything.
Over 1.5 3-pointers made for Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, God.
Is the number 2 positive EV option. And you were certainly singing that tune 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, remember when I nuked the Knighted, like one of my least favorite players who has like a tattoo going all the way up to here on himself. Good Lord. Kyle Kuzma.
Same for AJ Green. AJ Green over 2.5 at plus 100. Looking massive from an EV perspective. Lots of really quality positive EV numbers out there based on our most up-to-date run of our projections. You could do all of this from the props tool right next to the data hub, right next to the Sims. It's a click away for you. Pick the books that you want it to be, click apply, and you are done. And lucky for you guys, Greg Ehrenberg is going to be here at 7 o'clock once we lock this bad boy up, going through all of this as more things pop up. Dude, it is insane that it is 6:48 and we don't have a Utah starting lineup.
Just saw one pop up at a different site, Ace, Cody Collier, Mark Phil. So Filipowski, but we'll see.
I mean, we should be pretty confident with most of it. It's going to be hard for Filipowski to not be in the starting lineup. Clearly, Markkanen is in the starting lineup.
Do you think Nurkic
Collier kind of has to by default?
Do you think Nurkic went out on a bender in Indiana last night? He's just like, bro, I'm not playing basketball today. And they're like, you're playing 12 minutes. He's like, no, I'm not playing today. Just waiting for it to happen. But
there it is. Collier, Williams, Bailey, Markkanen, Filipowski.
Yep. So they were right about that. And now the question just becomes what the hell we do with Filipowski. Josh, I really hate this. I hate this for everybody involved, specifically myself, who has way more invested in the slate than I should at this point. Like, I don't want to do this. I really, really don't.
Here's one thing I do want to do right now. What is the optimal lineup at Stokastic on DraftKings after all of that malarkey? Isaiah Collier, Quentin Jackson.
Wait.
Spencer Jones listed as inactive. Isaiah Collier, Quentin Jackson, Jarris Walker, Jalen Johnson, Jokic, Ethan Thompson, Jay Huff, Miles Turner. Whew. Ethan Thompson sneaking into the optimal right now as a 2 separate bench guards for the Pacers are making the starting lineup or in making our optimal lineup right now.
How terrifying is that? I mean, honestly, this should just tell you how bad Ben Shepherd is at producing fantasy points. Like, Ben Shepherd should be embarrassed. He's getting the start. He's the guy out there, and yet we're not going to play him nearly as much as Cam Jones, I will say this, 3,500 FanDuel, Cam Jones, I'm just going to play a ton of. I don't see a way around it. Like, considering he actually gets the nod over there, he's only shooting guard over there. Oh man, is that hard to get away from? But yeah, there's a lot of other. What?
10% owned on FanDuel.
I have to do it. I just have to play a lot of him. This is just getting ridiculous that nobody wants to play him. I thought his ownership would come up a little bit. Also, you know what's funny about this slate? I thought we would talk about Washington and the ridiculousness that they pulled off on Sunday. We haven't talked about that once. Like, do they play this game straight up, or are we going to just see like punt ridiculousness, or was that because it was a back-to-back? Like, what the hell did we witness on Sunday? Because I'm still mad about it.
It was a mess on Sunday.
I hated every part
God,
of
it was so annoying. Okay. I'm going to take a look at the positive and negative leverage options that are here after this most recent update. Although our boy Rich just hit another 650 update. So another one is going to sneak in. But based on our most recent update, Kobe White, the highest positive leverage option in our projections right now. Ethan Thompson is 2, Markkanen 3, Patrick Williams 4, Jalen Johnson actually 5, and then your boy Kyle Kuzma at 6. My boy, I guess, Talon Peter at 7. I like a lot of what I see at the top of that leverage table.
Yeah,
like Kobe White in this scenario, yes. Ethan Thompson, if he's going to be underowned, yes. Markkanen in this whole situation, yeah, why not? Who's slowing him down on the Pacers if he just wants to shoot every time? Patrick Williams, interesting. Jalen Johnson, Kuzma, Peter. I really like our positive leverage options.
Well, Kobe White has a chance of like increasing value before Thursday. I mean, most teams, I would assume, use advanced analytics. I don't think a ton can change the way that the Bulls think it can, but like Kobe White playing 36 minutes, putting up 50 points would look pretty good. 50 fantasy points, that is. I don't think 50 real points, but if that were to happen, that'd be pretty absurd. Trey Jones isn't going to play basketball today. We don't have Vooch out there. These are all really, really good things for Kobe White. And so, yeah, I'm kind of on board with that there. I also like Io. Like, I have to play a little bit of Io as well. Also positive leverage, also not getting a ton of love. Those are kind of those different mid-range guys to mix amongst everybody else.
In the update, which is already updated, Quentin Jackson, Kyle Kuzma, Kobe White, top 3 in leverage. Your boy Kuzma is there. But we got to look at the negatives. No person on the slate has a higher negative leverage number than Jarris Walker. Now, to be clear, you typically see some negative leverage when these guys get into the 40, 50, 60 type optimal rates. You don't need the optimal lineup on an NBA slate. You can be close enough. He's a great play today, but he's definitely the scariest piece of the Pacers for me. Ben Shepherd is your second highest negative leverage guy. I'm sure you don't hate that at all.
I hate it so much. I'm not like, I hate Ben Shepherd. So I know he's going to make like 6 threes today. Like, I just feel it coming in my bones. I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toe. Christmas is all around. Hey, we hit the same one. Woo! Go us.
Because I replaced the word thing with Christmas.
Kids,
hey, Jaylen Brown, negative leverage.
I'm a pop star, and they give them to you for free.
Not a ton of negative leverage options here. A little bit of Filipowski, Hawkes, which we're not loving. Not a lot of talk on the Miami Heat, regardless, coming out of our projections right now. But I'm loving the top of our leverage tool. Quentin Jackson, Kuzma, Kobe White, Jalen Johnson.
Bump up too. Kuzma took a gigantic bump up. This slate is gonna be made or broken by Kyle Kuzma for me. Nothing worse than that feeling. I can tell you that much. Good Lord.
I want to see how the pay up options have changed a little bit. Jalen Johnson sitting at 38%.
Yeah.
No other pay up is north of 20, basically. I guess Ryan Rollins is around 25. Tough to get to Murray at 9,200 now. There's a case to be made that like Paolo Banchero looks a little sneaky at no ownership. If SGA plays, I think he's super interesting at 10-7 with very minimal ownership.
So what do we even do with Shea if he doesn't play? Because like you need another lineup spot for sure. And this is where I think there's actually like a lot of utility in boosting. If you're going to go through and boost anybody, boost Kobe White, boost somebody that's going to actually get you in the realm of being able to like swap things around, have another lineup spot to be able to like move that around to. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to any OKC value. If one of them absolutely nukes and everybody sits on OKC, I'm probably in trouble on this slate. But like normally I'm backloading lineups talking about that. I think we can all recognize that Indy and Utah is ridiculous. And so I'm not, God, the amount of Cam Jones I have is just disturbing, dude. I can't do this. 60% Cam Jones. That's too much Cam Jones.
By the way, if for some reason Shea doesn't play and you get that late, Ryan Rollins is like your only real option at point guard, and then moving around an extra 2,000.
Yeah, and I've got Kyle Kuzma that I could turn into hopefully like Cooper Flag or something more expensive, but I'm going to be in some type of trouble. Like Cooper Flag, his usage has been ridiculous post Anthony Davis. We've seen him, take 25, 29 shot attempts the last couple. Like things have been good in some regard there, but like the one guy who's going slept on a little bit for this slate, Nikola Jokic, and you don't see Jokic slept on a lot. I think we recognize he's going to be on some type of a limit, that he's not going to play full bore minutes, but like he's still the best fantasy producer. He's still the dude that I want to get to. Him and Luka Doncic, considering all the value we have, I'm just a little surprised that nobody's getting there. Shea, I ended up getting 3% of in 150, but that's not going to be enough to matter. Just a disturbing.
There's definitely a scenario where Jokic just plays 35 minutes today, right?
I hope so. I mean, that would be great because I have a lot more than, what did I get? 18% right now. He is.
I like that.
9% or 7.2% we've currently got. So I'm going to be rolling with that. I got to get these damn lineups in. That's where I'm at now. Is like making sure these actually get in. Good Lord Almighty, dude. This has been fun. It's been insane. But hopefully what you took away from it is embrace the craziness of a slate like this, and also recognize that at the same time that we want to give you the best advice possible, sometimes the best thing you can do is just simply recognize what's not getting owned enough and finding ways to potentially be overweight to some of these guys. Like, I don't like Kyle Kuzma as a basketball player. I just have to play Kyle Kuzma at this kind of ownership. I don't like the idea of Kobe White getting ripped off a basketball floor tonight because he got traded, but like he's so low owned relative to his chances of obliterating this slate. So those two guys specifically just going to be a huge part of what I do.
Boy, Radam hit us with the super chat. Wants the best king of the court pick for today. Best PRA pick for today. Appreciate you, man. I'm looking through it now, trying to figure out who I like that's like maybe a little bit off the beaten path. Banchero is not going to be nearly as popular as like he realistically would be. Like Kyle Kuzma is a better option right now than he ever has been before, probably, just given what that game is today.
Yeah.
For what that payout could be if he leads the slate in PRA.
Talk dirty to me. That would be very good. I'm playing a ton of Collier.
Flag looks great.
Flag is probably my favorite king of the court pick, if we're being honest. Like Cooper Flag, I don't think the usage is that sticky. I don't think he's going to be this crazy, but like there is no denying it is insane what we are witnessing that usage be right now. So I think lean into it a little bit. I think find yourself a little bit of there's just no planet where Cooper Flag's going to be as owned as he probably should be because Luka Doncic exists. So that's always helpful.
We have 4 guys. I think we're going to be on the same page here. We have 4 guys that are north of 40% owned. Quentin Jackson, Jarris Walker, Isaiah Collier, Jay Huff. Who do you want the least of?
1 second here.
I assume it's Walker.
I don't think I got my update in. Okay, no, I got it in. Thank God. All right. Say that one more time. I literally went right down to the wire on that.
I didn't realize it was 7:00. Who do you like the least? Walker, Jackson, Collier, Huff. They're the 4 highest projected owned dudes.
Probably don't like Walker the most. I mean, he's 5,200. It just has a floor to it. So we've talked about that a number of times. When you're 5,200, it's not free to be able to make it work. That said, I played him in my main lineup. I'm looking through. I didn't play him in a bunch of my $11 lineups, but was a little lower there. Ended up playing him in some of the chalkier stuff, and I don't feel good about it by any means. But yeah, Kyle Kuzma and Kobe White going to make or break my night. Oh, look who it is. Speak of the devil.
Live after lock time, folks. We are here. We can't be on playback any longer, but we can continue this bad boy on YouTube. Greg Ehrenberg, welcome to your show.
If as many people were as excited about playback after they went out of business as they were while they were in business, I think they would still be around. Like we get so many more questions about playback since they went out of business than we did when they existed as a company.
It's very true. I got a lot of messages asking about it for sure. So,
which I mean, it's not like that's actually the case. Just people, just kind of take for granted the thing exists all the time. But here, I'll let you guys know what it is that I am planning on doing for today. So obviously, Josh and Eric, have a good night. Good luck with all your lineups.
Better.
So here's what we're going to do today, guys. The usual, in terms of any kind of breaking news happens, I'm going to react to it. I'll let you know what I think. We'll look at our updated DFS projections. I'll be doing my swaps and letting you guys know what I get to. But in the interim, we're going to be looking at some prop bets too, so that I'm going to be bringing you guys value throughout the show. So not just before when Josh and I were on playback, it would more or less be some bets mixed in, watching the games, kind of reacting to what's going on. But we've got our new prop tool here now. I'm sure that the guys told you about what we have going on here, which is the prop tool, which is launched officially today. $1. If you guys want to sign up for the new Stokastic props tool and try it out, it is just $1 with the promo code PROP, link down below in the YouTube description box. Go sign up for the weekly package, enter that promo code PROP, just $1. Just make sure you select the weekly package, enter that promo code PROP for $1. And we want to get as many people trying this as possible for multiple reasons. Number one, we think it's going to help make you guys some money. But on top of it too, if we get hundreds of people using it, maybe even in thousands, then I'll be able to afford a haircut. But if we get a ton of you guys using it, then we got a lot of feedback. We figure out what you like, what you don't like, and then we can make an even better tool for you guys. So just $1 for a week. We want to get as many of you using this tool as possible. And we did already get a starting lineup that's a little bit odd here for the Miami Heat. We have Mitchell, Gardner, Larson, Fontecchio, and Adebayo. I don't think that we had Gardner projected to start. Let me double check that, though. I'll go over to our projections here. What did we have for the Heat starting lineup? We had Gardner for... It would help if I could spell. Oh, no, we did have Gardner projected to start. All right, so we had Gardner, although projected to start, we only had him at 19 and a half minutes, just under 19 fantasy points. So I'll be checking to see if we do any kind of changes to his projection here, but not like we have some sort of overwhelming projection on. He's not a bad fantasy producer, 0.97 fantasy points per minute. So I will see if Rich decides to make some adjustments to his playing time at 0.97 fantasy points per minute and a $3,600 price tag, good position eligibility, shooting guard and small forward. Then all of a sudden you could get Gardner as a potential interesting option. We'll see what ends up happening as projections update there on Gardner. So like I said, we are going to be looking at projection updates as we go, but I also want to look at some props here. And what I also want to look at is some of the boosts that are available on DraftKings. FanDuel has a 1 for today. They've got like 25% boosts. We could go check that out also. But for DraftKings, they had a ton of boosts set up for today. They've got, what is it for NBA? They've got a 30% for a 4-game, same game parlay boost. There's also any sport profit boost. So I guess, I just got logged out. Well, that's fun. Let me log back in over on this other screen over here so you guys don't see my login information. And then I will pull it back up on screen. Let's see. So what were the boosts? Oh, now it's doing the location check for me. Here we go. All right, now we should be good. Let's see. Does this work if I drag it back over? Load. There we go. All right, cool. That worked better than I was expecting it to. So these will load in a second, the different boosts that we have on DraftKings. But yeah, DraftKings just has more available boosts. There's also the King of the Court for today. So I figure we'll use the prop tool to build out some of the boosts, and you guys could see how I might go about using the tools there. And I see we got a super chat here as well. Sam Van Dam. Sam saying, I really appreciate you doing this, Greg. I just locked in Lauri Markkanen as my King of the Court. Let's get this bag. So if we're looking at some other potential King of the Court picks for today, one other thing that's also like kind of top of mind for me when it comes to King of the Court is for me, because I have limited accounts, I don't want to take somebody who's too crazy of long odds, because in the event that I hit on somebody and I'm like the only one and I get the $1 million bonus bet, cool, I'll be able to use $8 of the $1 million bet, which would be extremely frustrating. So I try to be, like reasonably contrarian. I don't just want to take like Luka every single night or anything like that. But with that said, at the same time too, I don't want to go too crazy, because then even if I win, I just have a boost bet or a bonus bet that I'm not even capable of using, because they're not going to break it up for you in that kind of way. But if we look at our stats projections here, you could look at what we have for the PRA projections, and you'll see we have Luka leading the way. That's no surprise. And for whatever reason, Luka seems to play on every single Tuesday. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but Luka is almost always available for the King of the Court. He usually wins, and he's usually super popular, and then everybody gets like a $15 bonus bet or something like that. Markkanen not too far off, though. So, Sam, you looking for somebody who's like kind of contrarian, but not too insane? 37.7 PRA projection we have on Lauri Markkanen. So that is 10 behind Luka. But if you look at like Jokic, Jalen Johnson, he's 6 PRA behind them. So it's not somebody who's like too totally insane or anything like that. Yeah. Guitar Z-Man, FBI informant password. Yeah. My password on DraftKings, it's just co-conspirator 69. That's how you could find me. It's also my code name. Let's see what we've got here. Pierre wants to know a FanDuel question here. It is a 2v2. Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Kobe White, or Dyson Daniels and Ayo Dosunmu. We just got the Lakers starting lineup, by the way. I'm going to lean towards the NAW and Kobe White side, particularly now that Tyus Jones, like very odd, the Tyus Jones situation. He's not expected to play. They upgrade him to questionable only for him to be active but not expected to play. Very odd move. But anyway, Kobe White, a lot less competition for playing time, and then as well as things like usage when you've got a Vooch also traded for today. So give me the first combination you have there. Let's see. What do we have as another super chat here? Our guy Miami Mike. All right, let's see what Mike has cooked up for one of his jokes for us here. He says, wife can't cook. And this is like another Ronnie Dangerfield. Hey, I tell you, my wife, she can't cook. In my house, we pray after we eat. Ain't getting no respect. All right, Miami Mike. There we go. Another one of his classic jokes from the 1960s. Miami Mike. But that one had a setup and a punchline. Some of them, they're too long. You get lost in a little bit. That one had kind of more of a point to it. That was a better one. All right, let's see what we've got for any questions in Discord. If there aren't any, then we'll start building out some parlays here. All right, couple questions. JEW, last man in Kuzma or Turner. Give me Kuzma. I think Kuzma is a pretty good contrarian option. I ended up with Kuzma in 34% of lineups at 17% ownership. So I'm going to go with Kuzma there. And then Larson just says, appreciate the post-lock content. No question, just saying thanks. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Hopefully you guys like this, and then we'll continue to do this and iterate on it and find better ways to improve the show as we go. Super chat here from Pages of Brandon. Favorite 2 pay-ups, and then is Quentin Jackson a top play? Yeah, so I've got Quentin Jackson as my most rostered player on the entire slate, even though he's coming off the bench. So yes, I think Quentin Jackson absolutely is a top play for the slate. And then as far as my favorite pay-up options for today, they are... let's see. I have the most of on the high end, Jalen Johnson at $10,200. And then I've got, as a contrarian option, I've got Jokic in 25% of lineups. He's only projected for, I didn't see what the final ownership actually ended up being on Jokic, but we only had him projected for 7% ownership. I like getting overweight to a contrarian Jokic on a slate that has like infinity value. So I made a point to get to a good amount of Jokic at low ownership for today. Hopefully actually came in at low ownership. I'll check that here. Let's start looking at some bets for DraftKings. So what you can do in the props tool here is you could select individual books. So a lot of times I'll want to be trying to, odd shop and figure out like what are the plus EV bets and what are the best available lines. But for something like today, I only want to have DraftKings selected because, let me just make sure I have that right. Why is it showing 12 bucks? Didn't I just only select the one? Are other things? Oh, there's other ones down here selected. All right, I'm just going to deselect these. But because we're going to build out some boosts for DraftKings, I just want to make it simpler for us and only look at the DraftKings bets. And then we'll kind of go from there and see what it is that's projecting best. So let's go back to DraftKings in a second after this updates. And what did I forget to deselect? Some of these ones at the bottom. Some of the pick'em sites that I don't have access to here. There we go. Now it should be down to just DraftKings. Still two. What did I forget to deselect? Oh, underdog. All the way at the bottom. Okay, there we go. Now I finally got it sorted out. All right, so we have available for us on DraftKings. We have a 20% any sport profit boost. Let's build this. A 30% NBA profit boost. It has to be a 4-leg NBA same game parlay or same game parlay plus. So let's see which individual games are yielding the most value. And then we could go ahead and try to build a same game parlay just around that. So it looks like we got a good amount of value on the board. Just for reference right now, the top overall projected bets from DraftKings in the props tool here, we've got Kyle Kuzma over 1.5 threes. We've got Mo Gay under 7.5 points. Draymond Green for over 1.5 3 plus 1. I'm also going to take note of some of the injuries that we're still looking at for today. Obviously, there is the situation with OKC that we're waiting on. SGA is questionable. Chet Holmgren is questionable. Isaiah Hartenstein is questionable. So those are all going to be massive for OKC. There's probably not even that many lines up for OKC. We also, by the way, have the ability to quickly edit projections in here now if you want to originate some of your own projections. But if we go with top bets for OKC, there's actually some here, but it's going to be mostly right now lean towards the under, which makes sense because I got it split in between the market and then also our own projections. And right now we're going to have the OKC guys in. But at least for now, I'm probably not going to want to touch that game when there's so much uncertainty. But let's see if there's any kind of trends in terms of which games have more plus EV bets available, because that'll just make it easier for us to build a plus EV same game parlay if there's a bunch of individual bets from any games that have more value. So let's see, Milwaukee, Chicago, Atlanta, Miami, Golden State, Philly. We've got Phoenix, Portland here, Chicago, Milwaukee. All right, so it looks like there's a lot from the Chicago-Milwaukee game. We've got the Kyle Kuzma bet, so let's add that in. We've got Kuzma over 1.5 threes. We've also got on the other side of the game under 5.5 assists for Kobe White. It is fun. Like, who's Kobe White going to be passing the ball to today? I think he's going to score a shit ton and take a lot of shots. By the way, we got a starting lineup here for the Atlanta Hawks. So it is Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Zachary Reese-Shea, Jalen Johnson, and Christian Koloko. So we got Koloko starting at center. That's a little bit of a mix-up. Miami Mike's got his Nuke in here, going with Pele Larson, so one of his local Miami guys here. So what else looks good from this particular game? Keep in mind we need 4 different bets. We also got Ryan Rollins over 2.5 threes. And then let's see what else. There's over 1.5 threes for Isaac Okoro. A lot of overs on 3-point bets. We've got Cole Anthony for over 2.5 assists. We've got him projected for 3.9 assists. This is a little bit of a safer line too, just from a standpoint of a lot of the other bets that we've plugged in so far, like plus 139 on Kuzma. We've got also the Isaac Okoro one was at plus 168. So let's plug in the prop on Cole Anthony, and that would give us a card of Kuzma over 1.5 threes, Colby White under 5.5 assists, Ryan Rollins over 2.5 threes, and then Cole Anthony over 2.5 assists. So let's see. If we press place bet, this should load it into my bet card over here. As long as DraftKings doesn't like log me out, because I was away from the site for like 3 minutes there. Hope doesn't make me. Ooh, starting to get the OKC news. Edward in. Hartline in. Yeah, how annoying would it be? And SGA in as well. What was the point of this? Jalen Williams in. So I'll tell you one thing that makes sense, and we could bet it really quick. OKC minus 9.5. That's going to look considerably better now. I'm going to try to get in on that. Let's see if that line is still up. OKC. I'm pulling it up on my phone while that bet slip loads. Is it still there? Oh, there. No, where'd the bet slip go? All right. Well, the bet slip didn't load. That's annoying. But anyway, let's see if we could really quickly bet. I looked away, so I probably missed it by now. But OKC minus 9.5. I'll pull up a prediction market like Kalshi because that will be a little bit slower to update. But that was the line earlier when all those guys were questionable. It was 9.5. Now it's up to 12. It's still available at plus money for 10.5 on Kalshi. So I'm going to bet that right now. All right. I feel good about that. OKC minus 10.5. Emax says it's minus 10 on Hard Rock. All right. Yeah, Vargas saying minus 12. Yeah, it's minus 12 on FanDuel, but yeah, just shop around a little bit. Like I just got plus money on 10.5 over on Kalshi. And then like Emax said, it's minus 10 over on Hard Rock right now. Doriano, Doncic and Gardner, or Flag and Kuzma. All right, so let's go back over to, I'm going to try to load that one more time in here and figure out what the issue was. Let's see if it loads now for us. But Doncic, Gardner, Flag, Kuzma. I'm going to go over to, after I try to load this bet slip one more time, I'm going to go back over to our projections and see what the Gardner projection is now to see if there's any update to make him look a little bit better. And then we'll make a judgment from there. Here we go. All right, cool. It actually loaded. All right, so let's go with the same game parlay. Yeah, here. We had the 30% same game parlay plus. What does it allow me to bet on this? What does it say the max is? It says a max $10 bet. All right, let's try to put $10 on it. See if it'll allow me. $10. And all right. Well, it got close. Max bet allowed is $9. That's not bad. All right. So here's what we got: a $9 same game parlay using the Stokastic prop tool. And once again, here are the legs that we have. It is Kyle Kuzma over 1.5 threes, Colby White under 5.5 assists, Ryan Rollins over 2.5 threes, and then Cole Anthony over 2.5 assists. And with the boost, I think we got that at 14-1. So that'll be something fun for us to sweat. And let's go back over to the projections and see what Gardner's looking like. And then I'm going to run all my stuff through the late swap tool as well and see if anything changes for me. Gardner, yeah, we boosted Gardner a little bit to 21 minutes now. We got him for 20.3 fantasy points at $3,600. And then your other options were Flag and Kuzma. I kind of like everybody who's a part of that. I'm going to go with the Gardner and Doncic combination. Kuzma is one of my favorite options overall on the slate, but Gardner's pretty enticing now. We still only have him projected for 7% ownership, and he's projected for 20 plus fantasy points at $3,600 with shooting guard and small forward eligibility. So that's looking pretty appealing to me. I'm going to start running my stuff through the late swap tool now, and I'll let you guys know what I get to that's any different and what my exposure ends up being to Gardner after I run everything through here. Let's see. Were there any other questions for us while I update everything? Nothing as far as the super chats go. Let's see if there was anything in Discord. In Discord, we've got Rabashua. How likely do the Bulls pull second half fuckery with Colby White? They're clearly trying to move him. So it's hard to say, right? Like there's a scenario where he just gets traded midway through the game, and then that kind of changes something. But it's really hard to know in some of these scenarios. It's like, think about the nonsense players that were playing from the Pacers Jazz game. There's no guarantee that there's no kind of fucker. There's always some sort of fucker that happens potentially in NBA. You kind of just have to play the guys who potentially set up the best. And if you look at Colby White, we've got him projected for $7,800, 32 and a half minutes, 36.87 fantasy. Oh, sorry. That was Derek White. I was reading off. My bad. Colby White, 7,100, 30 and a half minutes, 36.54 fantasy points. It's not like he's one of the best plays on the slate, but I'm not just going to outright fade him because there's potential for something weird to happen. I think he's a good option for today. There's no Tyus Jones. And then no Trey Jones. And then in addition to that, you've also got the situation where Vooch got traded today. So to me, there's always going to be, with almost any player, there's some risk of anybody getting traded close to halftime of some of these games. Like, just think about all the room. The Jaren Jackson Jr. trade came out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting that as a potential trade, especially not to the Utah Jazz. So I wouldn't put too much stock into it. Now, you shouldn't have like 40% of Colby White or anything like that, but he's going to show up in lineups for me for sure. And I am starting to update all of my stuff for the most recent updates. And then, of course, the live scores. One thing I do like to do is with each like 30 minutes as new games are starting, I run everything through the late swap tool, even if there hasn't been any kind of massive news, just because we do have the live scoring in the tool now. It doesn't always change a ton of lineups, but I just feel like it's a good checkpoint. It can't hurt. It's good to get some, little ROI, incremental boosts over the course of the season. It'll add a few extra dollars into your pocket. War Eagle, CK, Greg, I'm torn. Terry or Gardner or Kuzma and Jaquez. All right. So I assume you mean Dalen Terry and Gardner okay. So it's two different 2v2s. Gotcha. So I would go Gardner and Kuzma. Those are the combos those are the two different guys I would go with. I think I answered that in the way you wanted it to be answered. And then Coley Poston. Coley's asking us here, Luka and Gardner or White and MPJ. Which White? If you wouldn't mind just throwing that into the YouTube chat. The White of the night? Should I just play while he answers? Should I just play the thing? I probably should. Which White? Which White?
Going to financially recover from this.
All right, let's see if we got an answer. Let me see if I can find it in chat. Did he say which White? Colby White. All right. So Colby White, Michael Porter Jr., Luka, and Gardner. Here's the irony. I think I was going to answer Luka and Gardner no matter what, but I also kind of wanted to play I kind of wanted to play the animation, the reel at the same time too. But anyway, I am going to be going with Luka and Gardner there. Somebody asking about promo codes. So here is the promo that we currently have going on right now. We do have a new one running. So the current promo, because Name asked, the promo pro that ended last week, the promo that we have going on for today is for the new props tool that I've been playing around with over the course of the show a little bit. Sign up for the weekly prop package with the promo code PROP, and you get it for just $1. So if you guys want to dip your toes into the Stokastic props tool, sign up for the weekly package and use the promo code PROP, and you get access for just $1. That's what we have going on for promos right now. Still got my lineups running through here, making some alterations and tinkering around with some stuff. So I don't know exactly how much of Gardner I have at the moment. Kind of running up against the wire here, but that's the way that NBA DFS does go sometimes. But in terms of what I am expecting is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like 15% of Gardner, which would get me like 2x the field. That's what I'm aiming for, at least. It's what I'm trying to accomplish with my late swaps. You never know, though. Sometimes you try to force the data to do something and it has ideas of its own, and it'll try to talk you out of making any kind of mistakes or anything like that. So if he just doesn't show up in lineups, then so be it. The data knows better than me. But I'm hoping to get Gardner in like 15%. And this should be my final run of late swap going right now for me. All right, let's see if we had any other questions, and then we'll go back and look at some props. We've got from McGint. McGinty MC in the Discord channel wants to know, how do we like Risa Shea from Atlanta or Gardner from Miami? Who do I like more for? I prefer Gardner to Risa Shea. I definitely prefer Gardner. All right. What did I get of Gardner in this run? Not as much as I would have liked. Well, shit. Let me give him an ROI boost to try to get him to a little bit more. Give me some Gardner. What did I get to? Yeah, just can't really get him to show up in many lineups. I guess part of it's hard too, because I've already got so much of these lineup spots taken by cheap Pacers guys at this point. I think he's a good option, but yeah, just wasn't able to get to him in the way that I wanted to. How's the scoring going so far on this slate? Is there anybody breaking the slate early already before we get back to building out some bets? We've got, for top scorers, Alex Sarr at 14. You've got Mikal Bridges at 12. Duran's at 12. Nothing too interesting. Jarace Walker's at 8.75. Jay Huff, 7.5. Kind of interesting. So the Pacers have put points up on the board, but they don't really have fantasy points. They've got 21 points in the first quarter so far. You got 4-1 for Johnny Furphy, 4-3-1 for Jarace Walker, 3-2-1 for Huff, 3-1 for Ben Shepherd, 3 points and 2 assists for Cam Jones. Now to the bench guys, you've got Quentin Jackson just checked in, 3 points and a rebound for him in a minute and a half. So good start for Jackson. Ethan Thompson off the bench. He's got goose eggs across the board. He hasn't done anything yet. All right. Interesting. Utah side of the game. Markkanen's got 6 points and a board. Good start for Filipowski. 2 points, 5 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. All right. So that's where we're at with those guys right now. Yeah. Dance in the chat saying Robinson is 11.5. Yeah, Filipowski. Yeah, good start for Filipowski. Now, with that said, he hasn't checked off the court yet, and then he's probably going to check out soon and then not come back in until, midway to later in the second quarter. But yeah, good start for him nonetheless. All right, so let's clear the bet slip that we had before, and let's see if we could place another bet here. What was it that we had for the other boosts in here? All right. Let's go back to the home page here and look at our boosts. Oh, Britton saying Cody Williams off to a good start. Yeah, 9.25 in the first quarter for him. James Green says, for who, Greg, if Nurkic ain't playing, isn't everyone traded? Well, I'm just saying, like, he's not going to play 48 minutes. He hasn't he hasn't come off the court yet. At some point, he's going to end up coming off the court. I think Nurkic will play, like, I know he doesn't typically play off the bench, but I think for today, he'll play maybe like 2 6-minute stints or something like that. But I assume Filipowski comes off in a few minutes. Somebody else checks in, and then, like, Filipowski's still going to play a shit ton, but he's not going to play the entire game. He hasn't checked out yet. That's really more the point that I was getting at. All right. What else did we have? We have the 20% boost for any sport. Let's look at some of the other top bets for DraftKings. And we could just build a regular parlay. Won't look at any of the individual games. Yeah, we'll just look at everything. All right. Let's avoid some of the players we already bet from Chicago, Milwaukee. We'll also avoid the 2 7:30 games because they're locking now. Actually going to have to refresh the page because that game is about to go away. Let's go back to the data hub and then back to the props page. And the 7:30 games, yeah, they'll be off the board soon. So let's focus on Orlando, OKC, Boston, Dallas, Philly, Golden State, and then maybe something late from Phoenix, Portland also. That's going to be what's most relevant. We just got the starting lineup for the Magic, by the way. Suggs, Bane, Black, Boncaro, and Carter. All right. So what else is projecting well? We've got Dillon Brooks. You guys know I generally like Dillon Brooks whenever he's playing without Devin Booker. Let's look at some of the rates for him this year. So if we look at the Phoenix Suns with Devin Booker off the court, if you guys remember, I had a nuke of the night in Dillon Brooks like a week and a half ago or something. One of the first games that Booker missed. It was a game where Gillespie was out as well. Dillon Brooks this year, 34% usage rate with Devin Booker off the court. By the way, also Jalen Green is questionable. So in the event that Green is to be out, that would also further assist Dillon Brooks. Point being is you're getting Dillon Brooks over 2.5 threes, plus 135. We haven't projected for 3 threes in the Stokastic projections. So let's add Dillon Brooks to our bet slip here. We'll ignore the Chicago-Milwaukee game. We've already placed a handful of bets from that one. We'll avoid Luka. That game's locking right now. We've also got Caleb Martin in here. Caleb Martin under 6.5 points, minus 108, 10.2% expected EV. Expected to win 57% of the time with the 50-50 Stokastic and market-based blend that I have. So this looks pretty good on Caleb Martin under 6.5 points. Let's add him to the bet slip. And they'll find one more as well. One more bet to make it a 3-leg. What's looking decent? Let's see. It has to be from one of the later games also, ideally. Keep scrolling. We've got Lou Dort for over 12.5 PRA. Oh, no, 12.5 PR. 12.5 points plus rebounds for Lou Dort. We haven't projected for 14.1. So even though we did get news that SGA is in, Chet Holmgren's in, Hartenstein's in, keep in mind there are other guys out for OKC. There's no AJ Mitchell. There's no Jalen Williams with an E. So the team is still a little bit shorthanded. So I'm good with going with Lou Dort. We've got him projected pretty well here relative to his prop. So this gives us Dillon Brooks over 2.5 threes, Caleb Martin under 6.5 points, and Lou Dort over 12.5 PR. Let's load this in. See how this goes for us. What do the odds end up being with the boost? And I can't hear. I got a note. Having trouble 3 minutes ago or whatever it was. 8 minutes ago, we placed a bet. Like, why is it a problem now? Can't verify my location. They're scared. Clearly scared of us. I've got, you guys can't see it, but I did get a pop-up here that wants me to verify my location. I might have to refresh the page. All right, so what are the odds here if we turn this into a parlay and using the bonus? So the 20% all-purpose boost, max $5, 20% profit boost, offer valid on all sports, single parlay, same game parlay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is good. Can't bet more than $5 on this, though. It gets to plus 945. Let's see if it'll let us get the $5 down. Recheck location. All right, recheck location. This is the real sweat. Can it verify my location? Or is it just going to ban me outright right now? Let's see. Is my location good? Like Habib Nurmagomedov, send location. Big sweat right here. Also, very slow to load the DraftKings Sportsbook right here. Tizzle Main, Pritchard back to 6-man. Very possible. Our guy News God, yo, what's up? Zach Justice saying Jackson heating up. Yeah, let's see how that's going. Did it? Oh, nice. The location check went through. Starting lineup for the Bucks: Rollins, Green, Amir, Coffee, Kyle Kuzma, and Miles Turner. So we'll check to see if there's any projections updates on that in a couple minutes here. By the way, we've got, Quentin Jackson, 8 points of rebound and a steal. Quentin Rampage Jackson, man of many talents. By the way, Bulls starting lineup: Dosunmu, White, Okoro, Buzelis, and Jalen Smith. So any concerns about the maximum amount of weirdness the Bulls could have done here with Kobe White? That at least he's starting at the very least. Looks like one of the odds changed here to minus 112 on Caleb Martin. Is that still plus EV? We had Caleb Martin. It was minus 108 before. Obviously would have preferred to get the minus 108 to the minus 112, but it's still going to be plus EV, so not the end of the world. All right, let's place the $5 bet here. Once again, we got Dylan Brooks over 2.5 threes, Lou Dort over 12.5 PR, and then Caleb Williams, who kind of got boned here a little bit because the location check caused the odds to move. And then, oh, this is cool. Max bet, 99 cents. Sweet. At least the same game parlay I was able to bet $9 on. But yeah, max we could bet here is going to be 99 cents. All right. Better than nothing. But that was the max bet there. A cool 99 cents. All right, let's see what we had for questions here in the interim. Nothing in the super chats. Let's check Discord. We've got from Discord, Iron Maiden asked a 2v2 question: Gardner and Luka or White and Rollins? I am going to go towards the Gardner and Luka combination there. And let's see if we had a projections update that came through. We'll clear out the bet slip. Was there a projections update? Not quite yet. Not since we last looked. So we'll go back to this in a second. Let's go and take the filter off of DraftKings. Just look at all of the best available bets on the board right now. I'll just go to the popular books, though, that most likely you guys have access to. So go BetMGM, Caesars, DraftKings, Fanatics, FanDuel. Those are all the universal ones. Some of the other ones you guys either probably don't have access to, or if you do like a Bet Rivers or something like that, they usually will limit you to like 50 cents after you place like 5 bets there. So let's see. What are some of the top bets overall on the board right now? We've got the Kyle Kuzma bet, which we talked about before. Look at the odds on BetMGM compared to everywhere else. Kuzma over 1.5 threes is plus 165 on BetMGM, plus 140 on Fanatics, plus 133 on Caesars, plus 133 on DraftKings. So if you wanted to bet the Kyle Kuzma as just a standalone prop, it's looking best for sure over on BetMGM. I'm kind of curious. What if we just go also to like full Stokastic projections? What's the top bet on the board then? Still Kuzma? Oh, then it's a Jaden Hardy prop. Where the Kuzma one still projects pretty well. Oh, now the Kuzma bet is it off the board now? Is Kuzma bet off the board? On that last update, it looked like it disappeared from everywhere. Interesting. Interesting. I mean, like, I guess books were just not expecting him to start. Who did they think was going to start then? Rollins, Green, Coffee, Kuzma, Turner. I guess they were anticipating a different starting lineup. Oh, okay. Now it's back on the board. That was odd. You guys saw that for a second there. It just wasn't available anywhere, though. We go back to our projections. We did just get an update. So let's look at the Milwaukee guys and see where we're at on them now. So we got the 7:40 p.m. Projection update. I assume that's going to take into account the Celtics starting lineup, the Bucks starting lineup, the Bulls starting lineup. Also, somebody brought up in chat, Pritchard back to 6-man, which is true. Celtics starting lineup today, White, Shireman, Brown, Hauser, and Kada. So what's going on here? Here's my best guess. Celtics traded away Vooch today. I mean, the Celtics traded for Vooch. They traded away Anthony Simons. I think they probably want a little bit of scoring off the bench. So I think them wanting some scoring off the bench and not having Simons there, they're going to move Pritchard. So is this going to be a permanent thing or is it just temporary? Not exactly sure, but let's see what this did for our projections. Let's go to Boston. Where do we have Pritchard now? Not that he was like massively important to the slate, but just kind of curious what our minutes for him are now at 28, projection for 29.5 fantasy points. So yeah, I mean, it's a really poor fantasy point projection relative to his price point. Does it help guys like Jaylen Brown? I mean, you would think so a little bit, right? You're just getting lower usage guys in the starting lineup around Jaylen Brown and Derek White now. White's already at a ceiling price, but I think Jaylen Brown looks marginally better with Pritchard coming off the bench. Shireman for 15.8 fantasy points. We've got Hauser at 23.4 fantasy points at 5K. All right, let's go to Milwaukee. What do we got for Milwaukee? Milwaukee starters now. Amir Coffey, who's just a dog shit fantasy producer. This actually might be a record. 0.58 fantasy points per minute. We do the show together all the time, guys, where I pull up the data hub. We look at some of the projections. When's the last time you've seen somebody who started that has a 0.58 fantasy point per minute projection? So I get it. Amir Coffey starting. A lot of people might be like, hey, should I play Coffey? According to our projections, probably not. 12 fantasy points, 3K, a slate that is loaded with value also. As far as Kuzma now, Kuzma's up to 37.5 fantasy point projection at $6,600. We've got Miles Turner for 38.4 at $6,200, so he looks solid as well. Ryan Rollins, he's expensive, but 46.3. Milwaukee guys are looking good. Kyle Kuzma was already showing up in lineups for me. He's probably going to show up in a little bit more now as well. Let's see, what do we have for guys in the chat? Tizzlemane, shouldn't it benefit Pritchard? So it'll benefit Pritchard's per minute rates. Here's the problem, though. Peyton Pritchard's going to play less minutes now. And if you look at how much Pritchard has been playing, just pulling up some of his box scores here. So in competitive games, Pritchard's been playing mid-30s minutes. It's really hard to get that kind of playing time coming off the bench. So for comparison, Peyton Pritchard this year is playing 32.5 minutes per game. Last year coming off the bench, he played 28.5 minutes per game. So is he going to see a boost in his per minute production? Sure. But I don't think it's enough to make up the difference of the 4 or so less minutes per game that he's going to play. And if we go back to our projection on him, right, Peyton Pritchard, you'll see here we got him for 28 minutes and change. That's what he averaged last year, more or less off the bench, a little bit over 28 minutes. And that puts him at under 30 fantasy points at 6,800. It's just not a good enough projection. And it's largely because of the minutes. And then right here, Yarkathelza, Pritchard probably going to nuke. Yeah, I say all that and then watch him just, he'll shoot like 7 of 8 from 3 and make me look like a moron. But yeah, the playing time's probably going to be problematic. All right, I'm going to put the props tool back up on screen, and then I'm going to start doing some late swaps for myself to take advantage of the most recent news. And once again, want to remind you guys, while I have the props tool up on screen, you get it for just $1. Promo code PROP. Head on over to Stokastic, click on the link down below in the YouTube description box, select the weekly prop package, and for just $1, you get access to everything you're seeing on the screen here. So you get the individual player projections for stats, You could sort it here as well by points, by rebounds, whatever else you want to sort it by. You can also create some of your, I just realized I have the, because I'm a total donkey, I'm showing you guys something on screen while I have a graphic up on the screen that's covering everything. But most importantly, you guys could see here what I wanted to show you. If you want to generate your own projections, you could also do that. So we've got Kuzma projected for 35 minutes. Maybe you think Kuzma is only going to play 32 minutes today. You could change him to 32 minutes, and you could see how that alters his EV projections. You could also change some of his rates. So let's say that you think that Kyle Kuzma isn't going to score quite as much. Maybe you think he's only going to score 0.5 points per minute. You can make those updates, and you can see how that changes some of the EV as well. You could always roll this back and go back to our initial projections as well, just by changing up some of the minutes and some of the individual projections. So this will be really fun to play with in the mornings when you have stuff like a bunch of guys listed as questionable. You could go in and you could play with some of the individual players. And like, let's say you thought earlier in the day that Portis was going to sit. You could have set Bobby Portis at 0 minutes, reallocated some minutes to Kyle Kuzma, changed around his rates, and then see based on that what that would have done for the individual bets and what actually projects well. And we've also got some other features that are going to be added to our tools as well, like an on-off court tool, something where you could also see kind of like similar to the popcorn machine, what guys' rotations are throughout the different courses of games. So a lot more features that are going to be added to this to make it easier for you guys to originate some of your own projections as well. I'm really excited to play around with it and do some content for it as well. Kev, yeah, absolutely. Just saying thank you. Absolutely. Have you guys liked this show, by the way? Let me know. Just doing it, solo here, going late. And I would like some of your guys' feedback. Is there something you'd like to see me do more of on the show? Something you want me to see less of? Something I didn't do? Do you want to see me actually add to the show? I would certainly be interested to see. Caleb, this seems really cool. Signing up later. What's the promo code again? Yeah, I made the promo code hopefully as simple to remember as possible. Promo code PROP, P-R-O-P, prop tool, promo code PROP. Sign up for the weekly package. Use that promo code. You'll get access for just $1. Hopefully that's easiest for everybody to remember. Arcathelza. Yeah, it's cool. We've got here David Wayne. Yeah, bro. This is cool. D. Chavez. Yeah. Love the post-lock show. Contrarian take from a news god. Add Eric. Teasy. Keep doing it. Caleb. Keep doing it. All right. Love to see it. Bomb. After start. We could rebrand it as the After Start show. Always great. All right, cool. All right. All positive feedback in the chat right now. Yeah, Paul Kesey, 95% of his bets are live bets. So something else also, we are going to have a live ARB tool up on Stokastic soon as well. So that's something else I could show off on the screen a little bit as well, as you guys could see some of the ARB opportunities that come up over the course of the show as well. Yeah, Matt missed this since playback went away. Yeah, was just waiting for some of these tools to be up and running so that I had some more to show with you guys. I didn't want to have a situation where I was doing a post-lock show and like I was just kind of waiting for DFS news. We couldn't watch the games together, didn't have bets to give out or anything like that. But now that we have the props tool and we've got other betting tools coming that I'll be able to show off as we do live, I just think it gives me a better opportunity to provide value for you guys. John B, let's call it the playback show. Well, ideally, I don't want to brand myself around something that went out of business. I did love playback, though. One thing that really hurt them, I don't know if you guys saw the the press release they had sent out, is the new NBA TV rights deal. If you guys remember how playback worked, is they had rights to NBA games, but only through NBA League Pass. So you have to log in with your League Pass to watch the games alongside with us unless you had the VIP Pass, which we only had a limited amount of those to hand out. But then this year, when the new NBA TV deal happened, and it was like, there's games on Amazon one night, there's games on Peacock another night, they weren't able to show those games on a lot of channels for the majority of people. So then you had, when people like to watch those marquee games on playback late at night, they just became inaccessible where people couldn't watch them, alongside content creators. So it was really the new TV deal that did them in there. All right, I'm going to run some late swaps here for projection updates and the Milwaukee starting lineup. I'll let you guys know if anything significant changes for me in these late swaps while I run them. So I'm going to be working on that here. If you guys want to look at some bets, refreshing that on the screen as well. So still the Kuzma bet towards the top of the board. Draymond Green, Dylan Brooke, Cole Anthony. See, a lot of the same bets. Those haven't moved too much over the course of the show. So the ones we liked earlier, we're still liking right now as well. See if there's any questions while I update my lineups. Nothing recent. War Eagle here just wants to know how many minutes are we expecting Smith to play? I assume you mean Jalen Smith. Let me see. Yeah, it has to be Jalen Smith. They're asking. We've got him projected for 23 minutes. He has so much flag Turner combos. Wonder if he should do some Smith Rollins pivots. I like Rollins. I think Jalen Smith's kind of a thin play for today, though. Yeah, still no Nurk. All right, so maybe Nurk is. They're just. I guess they might just be running the 7-man rotation. Yeah, we've got so far. Yeah, looks like they're just going with the 7-man. Who's going well so far from the value there? So it looks like we might be getting lucky. Quentin Jackson's barely in the rotation. 10 points, 1 rebound, an assist, and a steal in 6 minutes. I've got 70% of a guy who played 6 minutes in the first half. That is a dog shit play that we are getting lucky on. Cam Jones, looking good. 6 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Ben Shepherd, he wasn't all that popular, but not a strong start for him. Johnny Furphy's going okay. Boy, we're going to get so lucky with Quentin Jackson. So lucky. Dan Koenig, are you guys doing PGA videos this year? Yes. Ben did one last week, and I believe he's planning to do one for tomorrow as well. Not a live show, but he's doing pre-recorded videos and going through our tools and whatnot. But yeah, Ben's doing strategy shows. Was anybody brave enough to fade Quentin Jackson? You're going to get screwed, it looks like, but that appears it was the right play to make based on the minutes. Stephen Jones says he's getting killed by Nurkic there. It does suck. It looks like the absolute sharpest play you could have made, which I didn't. I was a donkey. I played 70%, like I said, of Quentin Jackson. If you projected Jackson to play like 15 minutes today, you were right. And it doesn't matter because it looks like he's going to score 3.5 fantasy points per minute. All right, starting to run some stuff through the late swap tool. See what changes for me, if anything. Tell you one thing that will not show up in lineups for me, Amir Coffey, who went over before. Yeah, and I get also what SMP was saying about Nurkic is, yeah, I mean, in hindsight, yeah, you would have liked to have known he was playing 0. Like, even if you thought Nurkic was going to play, you probably shouldn't have played him just from a standpoint of he was fairly expensive coming off the bench. But yeah, it would have been nice to know he was going to play 0 minutes today and just kind of be like an in case of emergency guy, because then a whole lot of other guys from Utah would have ended up projecting better. So I agree with it from that standpoint for sure. All right, swaps are running. By the way, for me, this was like a fairly, sometimes you do shows solo and you don't have anybody to talk to. They'll feel like they drag on a little bit. Didn't feel like it was the case for me. I enjoyed hanging out with you guys. Doing it again tomorrow, by the way. It will be the same post-lock show. So hopefully we get a good slate with some late news again. And this should be my last run of the late swap tool here. Let's see if there's any other questions while the Sims are running for me. Yeah, Kai, is Isaiah Collier really going to play all 48? It appears so. And not only does it look like he's going to play all 48, it looks like he might play poorly in all 48 minutes. 4 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists in 20.5 minutes so far. You know, it's funny. We talked about Filipowski before, and somehow, even though they're shorthanded, the minute, like Filipowski's at 13 and a half minutes. So Filipowski's still on pace to only play a little bit over 30 minutes here, but he's making the most of his playing time there. All right, what changed for me? I have a little bit more of SGA now. I've got SGA in 17% of lineups. I've also got Jaylen Brown in 27% of lineups. So a little bit more of those guys. The Jaylen Brown one just makes sense. Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench, a little bit more opportunity for him. Nobody who I didn't have in lineups before who all of a sudden showed up in a bunch of lineups or anything like that. But yeah, just a little bit more of something like Jaylen Brown. Kev, whenever Nurk hasn't started this year, I don't think he's played. Yeah, this is true. The difference for today, and once again, I don't think that Nurkic was somebody you should have been rostering regardless. He has been a DMP every time he's come off the bench, but they only had 8 active players. So it seemed more likely that he was going to actually get minutes off the bench. But instead, they're just like, no, we're going to play Collier for the entire game, going to play 32 minutes of Filipowski, apparently going to play 40 minutes of Ace Bailey. Yeah, so it's short rotations to be sure. On the Pacers side of the game now, so it looks like the better, I guess relative to price, the Pacers guys were still better values than the Jazz guys, but the Jazz guys are putting up better value games. Cam Jones playing really well, though. 6 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists for Cam Jones. What did his ownership end up being? 26%. Jackson is 51%. Oh my, 51% ownership for a guy who's going to play 12 minutes. And is going to destroy in those minutes. Let's see what else. We've got, for the other guys, Ben Shepherd's 13% owned. Jay Huff is 39% owned. What was Walker? Jarace Walker, also 50% owned. At his price point, he's off to a kind of rough start. 6 points, 3 boards, 2 assists. He's also only played 11 minutes in the first half. The Pacers found a way to just not... Oh, you know why? I just realized this. Talon Peter off the bench has played... He's on pace to play 40 minutes off the bench for the Pacers. Did somebody get hurt and I missed it for the Pacers? These are insane rotations. By the way, Nurkic is in the I just saw the notification. Nurkic just went to the locker room. So maybe they actually intended on potentially, I don't know what the hell's going on with Nurkic. I mean, obviously he's not going to be playing today, but going to the locker room now is crazy. Also, he's not even that good. Let's see. Before the 8 p.m. locks, thoughts on Ryan Nembhard. Do I have Nembhard in lineups in this final swap? I don't have any Ryan Nembhard lineups. So the biggest issue with Nembhard at $3,500 is there's so many good value plays on the slate that were just higher priorities and projected a lot better. All right, let's see. Was there anything else as far as questions go? People in chat saying Jazz are trying to trade Nurkic. Maybe. But if you look at the moves that they're making, they're kind of making moves to win. They trade for Jaren Jackson. They traded 3 first-round picks, including one of their own picks for Triple J. So I don't know if they're aggressively trying to tank. Drizzy, any Dalen Terry or Patrick Williams in my late swaps? Let's see. Patrick Williams, I have 2% of Patrick Williams, so not anything that really matters. I have 0 lineups of Dalen Terry, but yeah, I've got 2% of Patrick Williams. Long story short, no, not really. Truffles also asked about Ryan Nembhard, just better guard values on the slate. SMP says they have to tank this year. They might be too good to tank. I mean, unless they're just not going to play any of these guys the rest of the season. Where are they at in the standings? I mean, it's shitty. They're 15 and 35. But they're going to win games by accident just with the quality of players they have. They are currently... Yeah, so you look at the standings, they're 3 games up on the Pelicans, 3.5 games up on the Kings. You have to figure that's going to stand. 15-35. Then also they've got a better record than the Nets, the Wizards, the Pacers. Off the top of my head, I think they need to have one of the 4 worst records in the NBA to guarantee they keep their pick. I just don't see how they're going to have one of the 4 worst records. Like they already have a better record than the Nets, the Wizards, the Pacers, the Pelicans, and the Kings. They have to end up with a worse record than 2 of those teams. How does that happen with their current team? I just don't see it. Well, anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. This was fun hanging out. We got to place some bets. You know, one of them was limited to 99 cents, but what can you do? The other one, the same game parlay, I was able to bet $9 on. That was a boon. But we found some bets. We did some late swaps. We reacted to news. We had some fun. Thank you guys very much for watching. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This went pretty well, so I think we're going to start doing this regularly going forward. Definitely on the schedule for tomorrow. And as long as the feedback keeps being good, I think the show is going to stick around. Remember, prop package live over at Stokastic. It's what we use to place all the bets over the course of the show. It is just $1 with the promo code PROP. Check it out. It's only $1. See if it's for you. One thing also that I think would be a really valuable is because this tool is so new and we're building it for you guys, you sign up for that $1 deal. If you want to see features or there's something you don't like that you want to be changed, let us know. You could be one of the first people to give input using just $1 to sign up, and we will absolutely build this tool for you guys and make it whatever it is you want it to be. So check it out. Leave feedback. It'd all be very much appreciated. Thanks for hanging out, guys, and see you back here tomorrow. Later.